Subway thousands of times. Born and raised in New York, you learn early that the train is just part of life, background noise to the rhythm of the city. You stop noticing the crowds, the delays, the occasional crazy person yelling at nothing. It all becomes normal, predictable, safe in its own chaotic way. That's what I thought, at least until New Year's Eve, when a stranger decided my life was worth less than whatever demons were screaming in his head. It was just after midnight and I was heading home from a friend's party in Manhattan, tired but happy, my head still buzzing from champagne and laughter. The platform was surprisingly empty for a holiday, just me and a handful of other people scattered along the yellow line, everyone keeping to themselves in that classic New York way where you're surrounded by people but completely alone. I was standing near the edge, checking my phone, when I heard footsteps behind me, quick and heavy, moving with purpose. I glanced up just in time to see him, a man in his 30s with wild eyes and matted hair, his face twisted into something between rage and nothing at all, and before I could process what was happening, his hands hit my back and I was falling. The world tilted and time stretched in that impossible way it does when your brain knows you're in danger but your body hasn't caught up yet. I saw the tracks rushing toward me, the third rail glowing with deadly voltage just feet away, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is how it ends. Dying on dirty subway tracks on New Year's Eve because some stranger decided to push me. I hit the ground hard, my shoulder slamming into the concrete, pain shooting through my ribs and my head snapping back with enough force that I saw stars. For a second, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, just lay there stunned and trying to understand what had just happened. Then I heard the train, that low rumble that every New Yorker knows, the vibration through the tracks that means you have seconds, maybe less. I looked up and saw the headlights in the tunnel growing brighter, and panic flooded every cell in my body. I tried to push myself up, but my shoulder wouldn't cooperate, the pain so sharp it made me dizzy. Above me on the platform, people were screaming, someone yelling for me to get up, get out, but my body felt disconnected from my brain, like the signals weren't getting through fast enough. The train was maybe 30 feet away when I finally managed to roll toward the narrow space between the tracks and the platform wall, that tiny gap where maintenance workers sometimes hide. I pressed myself as flat as I could, feeling the rough concrete against my cheek, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. The train roared past inches from my face, the heat and wind and noise so overwhelming I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything but close my eyes and wait to find out if I'd survive. When the train finally stopped, the silence that followed felt unreal. I could hear my own breathing, ragged and fast, and someone shouting from the platform asking if I was okay. I wasn't okay, not even close, but I was alive, and that seemed impossible. Transit workers climbed down to help me, their voices calm and professional even though their hands were shaking. They lifted me carefully, checking for broken bones and burns from the third rail, asking my name and if I knew what day it was. I told them my name was David, that it was New Year's, that a man had pushed me, and their faces went dark. The paramedics came and loaded me onto a stretcher, and as they wheeled me through the station, I saw police officers surrounding someone, a man in handcuffs, screaming about voices and devils and how I deserved it. I didn't recognize him, had never seen him before in my life, and that somehow made it worse. There was no reason, no logic, just random violence from a stranger who decided in a split second that I should die. At the hospital, they told me I was lucky, that I had a concussion and bruised ribs and a dislocated shoulder, but nothing that wouldn't heal. Lucky felt like the wrong word for what happened, but I understood what they meant. The third rail had been inches from my body. The train had missed me by seconds, and if I'd fallen just a little differently, I wouldn't have walked away at all. The doctors kept me overnight for observation, and I lay in that hospital bed, watching the clock tick past midnight again. 1 year ending and another beginning, and all I could think about was how close I'd come to not seeing it. I don't take the subway the same way anymore. Every time I stand on a platform, I'm hyper aware of who's around me, how close I am to the edge, and what I'd do if someone came at me again. Sometimes I see the headlights in the tunnel and my chest tightens, that muscle memory of panic flooding back, even though I'm safe. My friends tell me I should move on, that I can't let one crazy person ruin public transit for me, but they weren't the ones lying on those tracks feeling the train bear down. They don't wake up at night hearing the rumble, feeling the wind, remembering what it's like to be seconds from death because someone you never met decided you didn't deserve to live. The man who pushed me was charged with attempted murder, and they say he'll be locked up for years, but that doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give me back the feeling of safety I used to have, the ability to stand on a platform without calculating escape routes and watching every stranger like they might be the next one to push. Because that's what I learned on New Year's Eve. That violence doesn't need a reason. That any moment could be your last.